friends, continentals, and everyone else all over the world. It is my distinct and distinguished pleasure to invite you to the Open Final, the show at EUCF 2021, where Clapham, the established British powerhouse, the Bullfrogs, are taking on CUSB Fotta, the fiery Italians, and immediately Clapham shooting all the way downfield and looking for those scores, trying to win this game in the opening 3 points. I'm Luca Miglioretto and I'm with Ravi, but you're not interested in that. You're interested in top quality ultimate as Clapham get the quick score. Thomas Cartwright popping it to Ollie Gordon.
Thank you, Lorcan. I'm very excited to be here as well. Weather, not so bad, actually. The wind's died down. A little bit of a drizzle, just to add some atmosphere and ambiance to this final. These two teams, of course, met back in 2019, last time at the EUCF final in Caorle. That time, CUSB winning 15-7, snapping Clapham's 7 straight EUCF title streak. Clapham very hungry to get that back. CUSB very hungry to show that that wasn't a fluke, that they're an perennial powerhouse. We'll see how things go here. CUSB suffered an early scare, losing the Mooncatchers first round of the tournament. Clapham have been untested. They've just been cruising throughout this tournament. So we'll see how that plays out. Lorcan, very excited for this one.
You've got every reason to be, Ravi. This is a battle not just of teams. This is a battle of cities. This is a battle almost of philosophies, with Clapham's elite club nature and Bologna's resolute community fueling to the top approach. Those are two different philosophies we see across Europe constantly being debated, and we will see them here on the final where they will fight it out. So CUSB will look to respond with their first offensive hold. Clapham dominant as ever. But in that fateful year when CUSB won and became the reigning champions, a lot of people are saying the same things they were saying coming into this one. If it bleeds, they can kill it, as Laffy looks to bloody the nose of Clapham. Copy. Has Laffy, who's trying to get free, can't quite pull it off. DeLuca, despite the invasions of Nathan Ragg, collects the disc. He's got Tonelli in front of him. Just about gets it to him on the second ask, and you can already see the pressure on these dumps for Clapham. Copy working hard, can't get to it. Gasparini has to come all the way from the backfield, and there's the break throw. Ragg is all over DeLuca, fighting him for every square foot of this turf. Angela goes with the pop to DeLuca, and CUSB happy to work it, where Clapham shot in 2 throws effectively. CUSB are already over 24.
Immense pressure from this Clapham D-line. We knew that going in. One thing CUSB has on their side is they faced a crazy defense in Ranelagh in the semifinals, so they are a little more tested here.
They know how to react to this pressure. They know the give and take of a competitive ultimate game. It is fresher in their minds. As Angela on the opposite side gets to Laffy. Across to Gasparini. Taking their time, not going for any of the risky throws. Clapham are fighting constantly. DeLuca seems to be just having people lay out over him and near him every time he gets on the disc. Tonelli, back to DeLuca. You can see how comfortable CUSB are with having basically every one of their O-line touch the disc, run the offense. Gasparini coming back. Conor McHale dancing around, trying to inflict some kind of misjudgment on Gasparini. He gets it back in the middle of the pitch. A tasty break to Tonelli. And then just on the front of the end zone line, looking for options. I believe that's Laffy. Floats it over to Tonelli. And it doesn't matter how you get there, they all count. Different philosophies, same results, 1-1.
It did take a long time for CUSB to make that point, but they were able to respond to the pressure. They were happy to move the disc back. They were almost on their attacking brick line early in that point, but they worked all the way back to midfield, but smoothly. DeLuca catching under immense pressure from various Clapham defenders. But in the end, they get their hold. 1-1. Both offenses perfect so far. So Lorcan, I think the key to this game here is going to be the O-lines. Talk to some people that were observing this weekend. A lot of teams here in Europe have very good defense, very good D-lines applying a lot of pressure, but most O-lines haven't been perfect. And I think the key to this game for both teams will be both teams have the defense. Both teams are going to be able to generate breaks. It's which O-line keep their composure and score cleanly for more of this game that I think is going to win out here.
And that's going to be the battle that Clapham faced, because they were we know how much they love sending it deep. We saw them scorch Gentil from Ghent, despite the substantial sideline presence of half of what seemed like the town of Ghent cheering them on. Clapham unfazed. They are like machines. They're like the Terminator almost, just marching their way through Europe. And it took CUSB taking some of that attitude on for themselves, a la Terminators 2, to finally banish and free us of this 7-year-long curse. But Clapham couldn't be madder. And what happens when you get a dangerous Terminator? Ollie Gordon with options downfield, but doesn't force it. Patience through and through. Josh Briggs centers it. Ashley Yo. Yo. Looking, waiting. Sees Wilson. And me just slightly ahead of him. Wilson goes for the break and puts it curving in the wrong direction. So there's the break. You said they could generate the turns. Can they punch them in for the breaks? It remains to be seen. Vagliviello.
It's Barzazzi.
Oh, sorry, I keep getting that wrong. Yes. Hornschmeyer.
We see Barzazzi there on Justin Ford. I talked to Davide Mori before this game. They said that was the matchup they were looking for. First time I saw Barzazzi, Bologna invite. He was playing for the Italian under-24 team. Got a layout D and a hand block on Justin, so they're doing that to instill fear into Justin Ford.
That is something I'm not sure people have been able to do since he was a small boy getting a scolding from his mother. So if you want to be the first in a few decades, why not go for it? And Barzazzi might just be the man to do it. He's lithe, he's quick, and he is not afraid to put his body on the line, which, wait, am I talking about Justin Ford or am I talking about Barzazzi right now?
Well, both of them, I think, are those descriptors apply to both of those players.
So maybe it is that impudence of youth that Barzazzi, unlike most of Europe through experience, he is not afraid of Justin Ford, and he is willing to match him horn to horn here on the battlefield of Bruges.
So timeout here called by Andrea Mastroianni. CUSB trying to settle their D-line offense, make sure they punch that in. They know that every time they get the turn off this Clapham O-line, they need to use that. If they squander these opportunities, it's going to be very hard for them to get into this game. We saw that against Ranelagh in the early stages of the game. Both D-lines were getting turns. Neither D-line was causing breaks. We're getting those dirty holds where, you know, there were a lot of turnovers, but the O-line still scoring. Fotta really, really, really want to score this one in.
It is crucial because I overheard, I was eavesdropping. I was eavesdropping a little bit on the early talk because I like to hear the chants of the teams and their approach going in, not so much the tactics. I wouldn't share that on here. That's obviously against it. But you know Clapham look to kill games early and aggressively. They come out and they try to throw some haymakers. And if you can duck and dodge and dip and then knock one back into them, well, maybe you put the wind out of them. You can use that to sail into a little bit of a lead. It remains to be seen because we've so rarely seen Clapham shaken. Certainly on European shores.
Just like off this timeout, Ford keeps the matchup with Barzazzi, so he doesn't seem to be scared right now.
As that is just a straight turn, trying to get it to Wolfgang Maehr, but under intense pressure as now Briggs picks it up. Briggs working with Ford. Ford looks into the middle and finds Mead. Yo. And back to Ford as he launches one smooth and almost coming across with a block, but it sails over the outstretched hands of Sebastiano Chini and goes in for the score. Conrad Wilson.
Conrad Wilson for Clapham there. Nice, smooth offense. There was a lot of CUSB pressure, but Clapham handled it well. It's the first mistake again, squandered by Fotta. One break opportunity, 0 breaks on the board, 2-1. Clapham still on serve here in this final game of the xEUCF 2021.
Classic example of a turnout, as we see a classic example of Justin Ford being very good at Frisbee and putting a beautiful backhand arcing its way into the end zone and collected comfortably by Conrad Wilson. But encouraging signs for the Italians, who could be considered to be slightly a man down in a couple of situations. They are missing some of their stars, although they're still loaded with plenty of talent throughout their ranks. The Mine brothers no longer playing. And, of course, Gioppo, our beloved commentary brother in arms, or brother in microphone, I should say, is injured and unable to play. As now, CUSB have to work their way down the pitch. And that one is going to no one. I don't think Gasparini realized it was supposed to be thrown to him. So now Clapham with a chance to really punch it in and extend their lead. Alex Brooks gets it out just about. And a smooth throw into the middle. And it's back in the hands of Brooks. And this D-line working quickly but patiently at the same time. McNeil with a lovely break across. Brooks waiting, gets it out. Well taken in on the opposite side of the pitch by Modiano. And Garnier. And Brooks, who's been marshalling this D-line offense, forcing them just running end zone drill after end zone drill. And there they get the break with a lovely shot.
Oscar Modiano with the score there for Clapham. It's a break, first break on the board. It's now 3-1. That's that little mistake that CUSB had. And when I called this team on the Mooncatchers game, one thing that I think was a bit of an issue was their O-line defense. Unlike Clapham, who their O-line plays very good defense, CUSB here has throughout this tournament shown that when they lose the disc, their defense isn't that hot. They're not the biggest O-line in the world. And it's hard for them to apply pressure on strong D-lines like Clapham and like the Mooncatchers in the first game of this tournament.
Two D-lines that love to shoot it, but I'm going to give credit to the whole organization, but to specifically on that point, Alex Brooks, patient, resetting, working it, poking and prodding and eventually finding a hole in the end zone, not forcing anything, because they respect CUSB enough to know that they're not just going to roll over and give them their European crown back. England's going to have to invade every aspect of the CUSB mindset and take it apart point by point. Otherwise, they're just going to be burned by the Fotta.
Connor McHale with the pull for Clapham, trying to get another break on the trot. CUSB trying to stop the bleeding.
And De Luca collects it way at the back of the end, so that is a fantastic pull by McHale. Zani, one of the young, prominent talents for this CUSB O-line. There seems to be a pick called deep downfield. Nathan Ragg looks like a peroxide demon out there on the defense. Zani, Kopi, Donnelly, Gasparini with a lovely back undercut, but Donnelly didn't fancy the break. Instead goes for the harder one, which is really well corralled. Gasparini. And the poaching defense of Clapham, where they're constantly trying to set it up so they have someone who's meant to be more in the deep space, switching with people on the underspace. It's difficult to do, and a lot of times you can kind of give up unders as people just run past you without realizing. Clapham so communicative, so well trailed. As they get it to Tonelli on the far side. And a huge huck goes all the way up to Luca. He's in position, and that's a score. Although he seems to have pulled something, we hope he is okay, and that's just a cramp. 3-2.
To Luca would be a huge loss for this CUSB Fotta O-line if they miss him. Score is now 3-2. Yes, they're counting that as a goal. He did drop it pretty quick after catching it, but he secured it first. Nice offense from CUSB there. I would say that earlier in the point, I was a little unhappy with their discipline in the reset space. They were alternating between having 3 handlers back and no handlers back. And they didn't really, they weren't setting up positionally well in the handler space. Able to find that deep shot, great stuff, but they're going to have to clean things up because it gets really hard to play against this Clapham defense if you're allowing handler defenders to cluster together and work together or having no dump reset at all. Something to work on for the rest of this game for Fotta.
And that speaks to how communicative Clapham are. You can't clog the space at all, or they will immediately take advantage and just start choking you to death with your own players. As Fotta looking to fight their way back into this game and get that break back. As we see Luca Tognetti, a defensive force, a storm in of himself on this overcast day for xEUCF Open Final, brought to you by Ulti.tv. And a deep love of the game. Something all these players have is Mead with a lovely straight line break. Goes Yo, goes Briggs. Briggs doesn't shoot it deep, as almost everyone expected him to do. And that's the aspects of Briggs he has. He can pop it deep at any point, but he is such a versatile handler. He can basically do it all and has become such a focal point for the Clapham offense. Down the line, Ford. You want to talk talismanic players, Ford to Yo. And then he's looking back and forward. Ford with a little step through and up the line. Cheeky. Flows it out in front. A lot of float. But that's how Ollie Gordon likes it, because he gets to act like a superstar.
Really interesting seeing them change Ollie Gordon onto the O-line. I saw that earlier this tournament was, like you said, usually a defensive player trying to mark up on big downfield cutters. Though Fotta doesn't really have big downfield cutters, so it might be good to put him on the O-line, switch things up a bit against this Italian squad.
And I think it shows the respect, because Ollie Gordon's one of the real established powers of Clapham, someone who's been with them for such a long time. And Clapham, early in the game, they don't wait until later in the game to go for strong lines. They're picking their moments and throwing their punches with precision. Look, so much float, and that is just born of confidence in your receiver, of experience of playing with them. Maybe a little bit of complacency, because if you are throwing Ollie Gordon, you don't have to try that hard.
In this throwing up, it looked like there could be some pressure there from Cheney, but Ollie Gordon just reads it perfectly, gets it at the peak of his jump, toes it in. 4-2 for Clapham.
So Clapham hoping to extend their lead further. The strong D-line stepping out onto the pitch. And CUSB, who have shown us that they can score working the unders and shown us they can score with the deep shot. But can they do it over and over again? Zani. And this is a Clapham zone. Trying to shut down those open channels. And then man marking deeper in the pitch. Now they've tightened up again. Huge layout bid, but nothing happening. As Zani goes for a huck, it's low, it's fast, and it's just ahead of Tonelli. And Clapham don't want to waste any time getting it going again. That's Hayden Slaughter. He gets it across the pitch to Brooks. Brooks was really directing traffic. And Flo, as that one rescued up off the ground. And you can see this CUSB line is fighting Clapham, making them work for it. But they're more than happy to put in the work. It's what they came here for. Josh Eels
calls a foul on the mark. Going to get a reset of the stall count. And violation is called. It's going to have to redo that one again.
So the tension mounting, building. Clapham, eyeing CUSB like a lone fly on a bright window. They're looking to eat. But again, this is great pressure. Eels is looking for options, and he's not really seeing much that doesn't come with a defender right on its shoulder. Uncontested foul. That stall's going to go back to 0. Moment of relief for Clapham. As Eels puts it out. Thompson. Thompson gets it back into the middle. And is there to collect it again. Lovely give and go. Throw, go, and keep attacking. Don't let CUSB settle. Brooks. Looking for options. Takes the break side shot to Garnier. And back inside to Thompson. Thompson says no to Brooks initially. Waits until he's cutting up the line again. That's how much faith he has in his ability to get free. Eels. Back to Brooks. Brooks has a lot of hard work being done by these Clapham cutters. Alistair McNeil collects that one. Tries to get back into Brooks, and for a moment it was shut down by Tonelli, but so nippy, so crafty, so hard to cover. And Brooks gets the up the line and throws it to Thompson for the score, 5-2.
It's a big break for Clapham. Fotta all out of sorts right now. The turn they originally came from is a long time ago. It was on that overthrown huck. Just an execution error. Was clearly an open target, but the disc just a bit too blady. But Clapham will take every opportunity they can get. And you see how hard it is to get the disc back off Clapham's D-line offense. I think that's the edge Clapham have a little bit here.
So we're looking at Eels. McNeil getting down and dirty. Well, down and rubber crummy as the case may be. To hold on to possessions as we see a timeout. That's a lot of shoulder to put into the ground.
Timeout called by Fotta there. Down a bit after that break, trying to make sure they can reset their minds, reset their legs, and get ready to get back out there. It's hard. That's a harsh break, being down 3 against Clapham. But they got to get out there and play it 1 point at a time.
I was incredibly impressed with Brooks. He just seemed impossible to cover him. If you stopped him from getting one option, he would recognize it almost before you did and then move to the next one. A lot of times people go for the option, think it's going to be blocked, and then try to do something else, and that's much easier to cover. He goes for the option, lets you think you're about to block it, which is a different situation to be in, and then cuts again. Tonelli stepped forward, perfect, and he just sallied on up line. Another time I saw him coming back, a small planks he was covered on the coming back, and Thompson even knew, waited until he made that little cut, went back up the line for the more advantageous pop and follow up. Really impressive control of the D-line offense, and a big reason why it's so hard to get the disc off them.
So Clapham will take that. 5-2 up. 2 breaks at this point, ahead of Fotta. Fotta's O-line going back out there, familiar faces. Though we do see Podge Sweeney crossing over. No, this is a D-line point. Their D-line is coming out on offense. I'm corrected. We've got Tognetti, we've got Podge Sweeney.
Christofuli. These are D-line players. They're stepping up.
Yeah, there was a long point. O-line players maybe a little gassed. Fotta has a good D-line offense as well. So Connor McHale to pull for Clapham.
He has some rangy pulls in him. And a penchant for the layout D. Might try to make himself ultimate famous with some highlight plays today. And we'd be more than happy to facilitate that. If he wants to put his body on the line, we'll put it on the internet. Christofuli collects, and by the time he has it, the pressure is already on them. Back of the end zone line, working it through. Podge Sweeney.
A little bit of Irish flavor here on this Italian side. Podge Sweeney, second time playing Euros with Fotta.
That's just a quick pop. Oh, and a miscommunication downfield. And you can't give Clapham opportunities like that because they'll take anything from you. 6-2.
Connor McHale with the score. Didn't throw his body out on the line for us, but got himself a little goal for the stream. 6-2, and Clapham are in dominant form right now, Lorcan.
Clapham are in Clapham form, let's be honest. And they've looked in danger of doing this all tournament long, the way they've just pushed through everyone, ramping up defensive pressure when they need to, staying calm on offense, as is their nature. As you can see here, just a little pop, an unfortunate miscommunication as Tognetti was trying to get it down the line for the under. And the only person running onto the end of it was Andy Lewis.
You saw Tognetti for a second there after he throws it get frustrated with himself and not play immediate defense. That's what made that, score. Look here. Look at him get frustrated, and Connor McHale punishes that moment and is wide open for the score.
I saw Clapham have so many weapons. They will come at you, and they will take chunks out of you. So there's no need to offer one up to them as well. CUSB, searching for that fire, that passion that burns inside all of them, that drives them forward like an eternal flame. But do you feel what I'm feeling? Could this be the same old Clapham dominance that we've seen in the past? Or CUSB going to remember who they established themselves as being?
Like I said, it's going to be up to the offense line. I think the defense line is going to get breaks in this game later on. The offense line has to clean things up to give the defense that chance.
Gopi, a stalwart cog and reliable part of this offense. Tonelli. And Tonelli down the line, big time gainer. That's what you want to see a lot more of. Keeney, that's what you don't want to see a lot more of. Unfortunate as Angela wasn't able to get onto the end of it.
Just throwing execution errors. Another one from Fotta. And the problem is, this is, the Fotta O-line out there, I mean, they did swap it up last time, but Clapham can send different D-line after different D-line. These are fresh legs. These are people that are hungry, haven't got to play. They have to wait for their team to get a break or two before they get out there.
They will send man after man after man at you until you reach your limit. Each one another blow against your morale and your ability to focus. As fatigue sets in for you and nothing but satisfaction sets in for those Clapham players. Thompson goes down the line, can't quite get there. Funk forced to hang one up there, and there's two. Hayden Slaughter's in the region, but so is Zani stepping across.
Oh, and a foul is going to be called there. It looked to me that Zani got around Slaughter cleanly.
You know, I forgot how vocal sidelines got during finals, especially when Clapham were playing, as we have another look at the foul.
Yeah, there you see, to me, Zani cleanly gets around Slaughter. I don't see the argument for a foul.
And neither does the crowd, although they don't have the benefit of instant replay, so I think they might be going off their feelings. Oh, there's also a call on the throw. Might be a stall out on Funk.
Here we're going to see it again. Yeah, he just ran around and got the D. The call will be retracted, but then there's also a call on the throw.
So Copy up there saying, no, I stalled out Funk, so it doesn't matter. I should be on the front of this end zone.
Contested stall out, so it will remain a turn here.
Yep. Which is clearly the preferable option for the CUSB O-line.
Funk seems to be arguing something. I'm not sure what he's trying to do. If he's trying to call a foul.
So I'd like to just take a moment to point out how smooth that desperation blade came out of Funk's hands. He's such an accomplished thrower. He's like, I'm just going to hang this into the space and let people fight for it, which is exactly what you need to do with those kind of throws.
So Laffy will get another chance for this CUSB Fotta O-line. Zani doing well to get the disc back, but that's an O-line point. You shouldn't have to make Ds like that on the O-line. They need to clean up their execution if they want to be in this game.
Laffy immediately sends it down the line to a streaking Zani. He gets the D he wants. The assist. Trying to drive his team back into this match. Tonelli. The orange hat. Laffy, a beautiful fake. There's a poach coming, but it doesn't get there in time. Laffy on the front. And the quick switch from Clapham. Again, that communication on the defense, but it isn't enough. Fantastic blade all the way over to the opposite side and taken in by Angela.
Angela with the score. That's better stuff from CUSB Fotta. Confident play, streaking up the line, blading across the field, using their throws, using their legs. 6-3, they're still in this one. But now, like I said, only has to hold. They did that. Their D-line needs to come out on fire right now. They cannot wait too long to get out of this hole. They need to start the climb right now.
It's either you start climbing up or you keep slipping down. As we take another look, there was pressure coming. Laffy corrected it. Got back in a beautiful shot. Hopefully they'll be able to start opening up and getting those connections working again. I know it seemed like there's a lot of throwing errors on CUSB's part, but throwing errors happen when you're panicked, when adrenaline is pumping and it's going through you rather than you utilizing it. So the throws are coming out slightly harder, coming out slightly sharper, coming out at angles that you don't anticipate. And that's because of Clapham's oppressive form of defensive pressure.
So Tognetti with the pull for CUSB.
You might be able to hear the crowd starting to fill this stadium with their voices. Ultimate, very much a participation sport. James Mead, captain of Clapham, I believe, this year.
It makes sense to me.
Taking his time. Walking up to the brick mark. James Mead, a man with a full retinue of break throws. Incredibly difficult to contain. As Clapham are setting up in a rather peculiar set play scenario. Josh Briggs going deep straight away to play off the idea that he only ever sits back. Gordon under pressure. He's going to have to find a dump soon, and he does in the form of Wilson. Just about. This is better from CUSB. staying a lot closer. As close as you can, really. Yo. Has Briggs, finds him. And the downfield presence of CUSB is doing just enough, but then, oh, there's a pick. As Ford did the fake dump and up the line. And that's something about Clapham. They don't seem flashy. They seem functional, but sometimes the right throw is a leading pass scooper.
In this situation, it's going to stay with Briggs. You'll notice that CUSB almost always will force Clapham backhand. That's almost exclusively just to limit Briggs's flick bomb.
Apparently it opens it up for the break scooper. As that one is thrown through traffic and bounces off the fingers of Briggs. And here come the Italians. CUSB firing their way down the pitch. A quick pop. Tonetti thinks about it, holsters it. Asks him to come under for a big gain and a bigger grab. Fantastic effort. Venturoli. Back to Crisafulli. Tonetti. And he goes for the hammer. Flash or function. Failure.
This time, Riccardo Venturoli cannot get to it. Made an incredible grab, but he seemed to just stumbled a little bit. Could not follow that hammer down.
There's the first grab.
See those lovely Tokai cleats flying in the air? Team USA model. Tokai cleats, a sponsor of this stream. Got to give them a shout out.
So, one of those rare opportunities to make Clapham bleed their own blood goes wanting.
Second break opportunity for CUSB. Still not able to punch in the break.
Briggs, and he can hit end zone to end zone from here. Big time layout block. Sebastian Rossi roasting Ashley Yo.
Rossi from Rimini, I'm sure the Costa Rica men are cheering him on there.
So CUSB get another shot at it. A little bit of back and forth. Mastirani, the maestro, gets it back to Tonetti, back to Maestro.
There's a call on the play.
Can't make out who. Tonetti.
After this call, we see a nice standard vertical stack
As they
from
CUSB. They try and go back to the fundamentals, the basics, the necessities. And the cupboard is far from bare. Great shot, great catch. Hornschmeyer gets the score, 6-4.
Hornschmeyer, the German import to this team, came over from his club Bora, who's actually done quite well at this tournament themselves, but even without their star player, a German World Games shortlist player coming up from the youth scene in Germany. Hornschmeyer getting in the first break on the board for La Fotta. That's great stuff from that D-line. Huge plays made and a great score.
Tonetti with the assist. That's what La Fotta needed. That's what they're named after. That fire, that heat, that passion that makes your language filled with gesticulations and your play filled with articulation of effort. Fantastic stuff. Never saying die. Venturoli's brilliant layout, and again, and then just gets up and keeps working defense against some of the hardest running players this continent has ever seen.
Seeing some love on the chat here on YouTube from Rimini. I think they had Paganello this weekend, so probably recovering from that party and enjoying watching their boy Rossi get huge plays in the Open Final back in the beaches of Italy.
Rimini have got plenty to be proud of, producing some really fantastic young talent.
Costa Rica themselves having a good tournament here as well. Made it to power pools ahead of free speed.
It's a giant success. But the boys from the Bronx.
Is there a Bronx? I don't get that. If anyone in the chat can explain to me why there's the Bronx on the Costa Rica jerseys.
As now we've got the Briggs in the back. James Mead. And that's a beautiful break by Mead. Cartwright. Back to Briggs. And like you say, they are forcing them backhand. Almost exclusively because of Briggs's power, but then they've got plenty of people who can huck backhands. That one, it's going to be tough to chase down. I thought Cartwright was going to find a way to defy gravity and reality. and get that disc into his hand. I don't even know how he got a touch on it.
When that disc went up, I thought, no chance. But he got a hand.
That's what you've got. No chance. Cartwright had other ideas. So close. But a very big ask. And now, CUSB trying to find answers for themselves. Tonetti. Pick called downfield. Thank you very much for the hand signal usage. You can see Barzazzi at the backfield being marked by Gordon.
Such a strong D-line out here. We've got Podge Sweeney, you've got Barzazzi, you've got Rossi, Tonetti with the disc. This is a team that could definitely work their way up the field if they want to. They don't have to force things.
Crisafulli gets it to Sweeney. Barzazzi comes under. Crisafuli's just chasing it down the line. It's good work. Doesn't want the Tonetti, gives it back to Sweeney in the middle. And Sweeney is just going to keep that swing going. The shot, it goes up high and it just bounces out of the hands of Barzazzi. Briggs has a flick break as if it's nothing. Long, back to Briggs, and Briggs just sits that one up. 2 defenders in the way, and somehow, so Yo comes down with it?
It's Ashley Yo with the grab. Big point there for Clapham, going up 7-4 here in this final game. Fotta with a chance to break, a little bit of a throwing error again. Too high for Tonetti. And now Clapham are 1 point away from the half.
7-4. But you have to be feeling fairly positive if you're CUSB. For a moment there, it looked like this game was slipping away, and they've just clawed a little bit of it back. An offensive hold now, and they are still in this, breathing, living, kicking. As there's the quick pop. Briggs so precise with that flick. He's like a surgeon.
You say they're still in this, but Clapham's typically a second-half team. They usually bring it more in the later stages of the game. It's going to be quite a climb here from CUSB, but they're getting turns, they're getting opportunities.
I don't know if it's a matter of Clapham bring it more the later stages in games. I just think it's a matter if you spent the first half getting beaten up physically and falling behind, the reputation starts to weigh more and more on you, and they just naturally, they're fantastic at finishing teams off. So it's not that they get better. It's like a lot of teams will lose a little bit of focus as we get another shot at Ashley O. Ripping that one down, the Crown Prince of the Skies.
I agree with that, but I will give a little bit of credit to what I've seen from Clapham and how they adapt. They learn what the team does in the first half, and they're very intelligent and find new ways to use their defense to cause trouble. So a little bit of column A, a little bit of column B, I would say.
Laying that out for Laffy. Trying to get back in, just the straight blade to Zani. I think Rut play indoors, outdoors like Salisbill's. There wasn't a straight blade, it's a dump. Tonelli. Working hard, gets that into the middle. Trombetti, Laffy, Zani. And this is smooth, comfortable offense. Angela. They're working it. And they are running these Clapham defenders. Tonelli swings it around to Zani. And Laffy muscling his way up the line. Surveys doesn't really like anything that's coming immediately available. Zani spreads it out. That's a fantastic shot. And it's well taken in. Quickly thrown to Tonelli, and they look for the quick pop and the score. I don't know, man. I think CUSB are starting to feel themselves in this final.
That's a great offensive point there from CUSB. They bring it to within 2, 7-5 now. Got to throw out a big line to prevent Clapham from taking half.
The thing about CUSB is, the way I would tend to notice if they were under pressure, if they were in trouble, is when the disc stays in the hand of any one player for longer than 3 seconds. Because they are drilled to just keep it moving, and they are so well timed just after years of coming up through the Bologna system.
3 seconds is actually quite long for a lot of these Fotta players on offense.
Catch, turn, throw. Immediately. Catch, turn, throw. Score.
That's within 1 second, most of those throws there.
And that, to me, is a sign that CUSB are cooking. Maybe Fotta's on a bit of a simmer right now, but if they could raise it up, really get that blood boiling, exactly what they need is a huge D-line.
So who do they have coming out here? We see the likes of Mastroianni, we see the likes of Rossi.
Crisafulli,
Horschenmeyer, Podge Sweeney, very similar to the line that was out there before.
Luca Tonetti, I assume, is going to be the one leading it, as he so frequently is in for these D-line situations. Although it's Mastroianni who has the disc in hand to pull.
Yeah, I don't think I see Tonetti on the line for this D-line point.
And is that Horschenmeyer next to Mastroianni?
Yes, that's Horschenmeyer.
so strong defensive presence as Mastroianni. And that's going to be a critical part of the defense gone wanting. A brick, when what you really need is just pin them down and put them under pressure.
I was told by a certain Mr. Mori before this game that because we're going to try to have a lot of rolling pulls and try and trap them on the line to start. Haven't seen that yet. Maybe it'll be something they throw out in the second half, saving it. Right now, more floaty arcing pulls. This one bricking, but even the other ones that have been inbounds.
It's a Mead. Marked by Crisafulli. And Sweeney stepping out into the open side and then having to rapidly come back. Long, hangs that one up. Gordon goes and gets it. He is a big man with big ups. Gordon, back to Briggs. And every move with a disc locked and loaded for a flick is dangerous when Josh Briggs is doing it.
Disc is going back on the call. I do like this Horschmeyer-Briggs matchup.
Let's see how each of them enjoys it.
Young fire against experience.
Briggs pops that up and floats it out, taking advantage of the face marking by Mastroianni on forward. And Briggs, again, they're doing a good job of keeping them locked in on this sideline for the most part. Forcing Briggs back, but I was expecting a long arcing flick break as they kind of face straight up late marking him right now.
Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like they are forcing backhand unless they're on the backhand side. They're not trapping them.
Now forward with Mastroianni. Gets it to Mead in the middle. And they're making slow progress down the pitch, but not too pressured as Mead goes for the big launch. And that's a perfect put to Yo. There was nothing Sebastian Rossi could do but watch it go by.
It's Clapham take half in commanding fashion, 8-5. Great half for the boys in black from London. Fotta getting one break back later stage of this half, but Clapham is really in the driver's seat here in this game, Morgan.
A lot of people were afraid this would happen. A lot of people were expecting this to happen. I even heard Clapham say themselves, just go win this game in the first 3 points. They didn't do that, though. They came close, and they tried. But I think CUSB are in the ascendancy, are coming back into it, are certainly willing to fight until this game is done. Coming back on offense, the start of the second half, close it to 8-6, and as smooth as that was, they have had opportunities. And I think they'll have more.
So we're going to take a quick break here. Halftime 8-5 in our open final here at the xEUCF 2021. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ultimate TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
our
work to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Welcome back as we watch two teams throwing hands in the lowlands. CUSB Fotta with their fire slowly being stoked as they try to break their way back into the game against the British Bullfrogs. Clapham Ultimate, who are trying to say, see you later to the Italian Stallions.
Fotta here having a bit of a rough first half. O-line not executing perfectly enough to beat Clapham. We'll see if they can clean that up. Again, I think their D-line can put the pressure on if their O-line gives them the chance to do it.
And their O-line was getting cleaner with each progressing point. Let's see how they look after that extended break. Zani. Looking for options. Against this zone that Clapham have popped on. Is prowling, prying Clapham zone. Zani just juggling a little bit, able to hold on to possession. Kopi, Zani. And Zani is searching for options as Clapham lock down on match defense. Kopi wastes no time. He sees Angela and he hits him. Laffy in front. Angela gets it back to Kopi, and Kopi is trying to get that disc moving within the 3 seconds. Huge bid by the peroxide demon, but he doesn't get it. Instead, it goes to Gasparini, down to Tonelli, and a shot for the score. They're going to call him in. Absolutely phenomenal stuff.
Michela Angela getting huge for CUSB Fotta. Great first offensive point to start this half. Start confident, start well. Score now 8-6. It's time for the D-line to do some work.
I want to give a lot of credit to Fabio Coppi coming in there several times when things were getting a little bit stagnant, a little bit flat, and just immediately coming, turning, throwing, coming, catch, turn, throw. That's how we're supposed to play. Let's get that speed back up, boys. That's his veteran experience, showing them that they don't need to be afraid, that they need to be La Fotta.
Confident hold.
Confident hold.
We're going to see here the points. Copy there, as you said, centering it, moving it to Trombetti. We're going to see the layout bid. But Gasparini holding on to it.
Is a scary individual to be marked by.
And then we're going to see here Tonelli's going to launch it into the air. Angela gets huge, keeps his toes in the line. Those Tokai cleats doing work for him as he makes that score.
He's got some wings hidden in them as well. Angela taking a little bit of flight there. Look at that again. So much focus by Gasparini to make sure he gets that disc. And Tonelli, who's been steady for CUSB all tournament, gets the assist.
We see Tognetti out there. See Wolfgang Maehr, who has not played the later stages of this tournament. I heard he had a broken rib on a celebration at some point. But he seems to be back out there playing on the D-line. Normally plays on O. But I do know that I was talking to the coach last night. He was making some adjustments to the rotations. At that time, he didn't think Wolfie was going to be able to play today, but he's out there now. Great to see their Austrian import who's been with them for a number of years at this point.
So you see Josh Briggs, James Mead waiting for the disc, flanked by Axel Amala. And it's Amala to pick it up. Immediately sees Mead in front of him. This time it stays in bounds. And CUSB are able to get down there and put pressure on them straight away. Hornschmeyer again marking Briggs, and this time far more shading the backhand. That huck is very on for Briggs on the backhand side. But it's not just the flick hucks that people are afraid of with Briggs. It's how lethal the breaks are as well.
Stall coming back in.
It's the front of the end zone and waiting for it, James Mead. And it would appear that CUSB are trying to force middle. As Padraig Sweeney forcing Mead flick. And as Mead is a lefty. Or no, a righty. Briggs being a lefty. Gordon, can he get there? It was always going too far away from him, so that shot a bit too much, and CUSB have another chance. We've seen this before. They've been successful and they've been unsuccessful. Can they hold their nerve? They've got some handling experience out there. Padraig Sweeney going to pick up the disc, the Limerick man, with the Italian passion.
This would be a huge point. They could put it in, bring it back to within one.
Tonelli gets it down the line and running onto it. Venturoli. Hornschmeyer. He has Maestro in acres of space as Yo is slow to pick up. And Maestro, I think Yo might have got a touch on that, but not enough. Tonetti. Sweeney was going downfield. Tonetti instead opts to send it back into the middle. Hornschmeyer back to Tonetti. This is good, patient work. They've got it down the line to Mastroianni. And can he work his magic? Tonetti goes for the shoulder fake, can't get free. Hornschmeyer offers some relief backfield. And the valve is let go. Barzazzi, the young, talented Rimini player. And on the opposite side, Venturoli. It's back to Hornschmeyer. He has Sweeney to his left, Tonetti to his right. And 4 targets in the end zone. Tonetti. And there was a pick called that stopped Barzazzi from running. I think it was before the throw.
So I'll give you a quick correction there, Lorcan. Barzazzi is a Bergamo player. He did play with Costa Rica last time around, so I understand the confusion. Actually from Bergamo. I know there's fans watching at home that will be upset. We've already given Rossi the Rimini shout out. We can't give everything to Rimini.
Very true, very true. And I don't want any more Italians angry at me as we see a beautiful shot to the other side of Vetterole collects 8-7. Perhaps a bit of discussion.
Definitely discussion, I believe. Violation maybe called? No. They're going to call back, walk their O-line back. A little walk of shame when you get broken. Have to walk all the way 70 meters back. Tried and do it again. Laffy fired up here. See him in that red jumper. 8-7. There was a big buffer before, but they're starting that climb, Lorcan.
They are working on it. The hills of Bologna, a great place to train your calf muscles. Pressure situations bring out the best in these two sides. It's one thing to start a comeback. It's another thing to complete it. And like you say, Clapham are learning all the time. As they play you, they're working you out. They're solving each new problem you present them with. And if you give them enough time, they will find a way to stop it. So Le Fotta are going to act quickly. Move with pace, move with passion, move with purpose. And try and continue this climb back into the game and into the driver's seat. Remember, they're the defending champions. It's Clapham who should be coming here fearing their reputation, looking to knock them off their perch.
I don't think either team is scared right now. Clapham still with a bit of a buffer, but Le Fotta having a little bit of momentum on their side as their O-line did clean things up since the beginning of this part of the match. Last break against Le Fotta happened at 6-4. Since then, their O-line's been clean. Right now, 8-7. Clapham still with a little bit of a buffer.
Here comes the big pull out of Tonetti's hands. And a ferocious chase, plenty of sit on that one. That's much better by the CUSB D-line getting down there, and immediately you can see Clapham working their way out. Gordon looking for options, eventually gets one in the form of Long. There's going to be a little bit of conversation. See Tom Abrams making his first appearance in the game on the O-line. That's a veteran presence. Had an unbelievable run and layout catch in the semi-final against Gentile. As they get it to Gordon, there's a real depth of experience on this line. Gordon, Mead, Ford, Abrams. As Mead thinks about it, Crisafulli jumps across. That's a lovely inside to Abrams. He's got Ford in space. And Ford can't get there. Abrams perhaps rushing that throw. First touch of the disc in a game. Big situation to have to make it.
One X factor in this game, Lorcan, is I think the sideline help. Remember, Bologna have a number of teams here. They've got the CUSB Red Bulls, CUSB Red Shot. They've got Disco Bolo on the women's side. CUSB Shout's probably going to be a bit busy preparing for their final, but that's a huge depth of sideline. The UK only has Smash D, who are probably out partying somewhere, still drunk from last night, not really supporting Clapham in this one.
Yeah, that unity not really there in the UK scene when it comes to Clapham's success. Although, wow! Initially, Horchmeyer can't get there. Barzazzi says, anything you can try, I'll give a go too, and collects it himself. Sebastian Rossi gets it to Crisafulli. And CUSB are firing right now. There, you can feel the passion. You can feel the heat coming off the pitch. It's singeing my eyebrows. Tonetti down the line. Smooth, patient, relaxed. Rossi passes it in for the score. Tonetti collects.
We got a pair of snowmen here, 8-8. All of a sudden, big gap. At one point in this game, it was 5-2, 6-3 even, and now we're back to even. Le Fotta really ramping up their defensive pressure, giving problems to the Clapham O-line. You saw Abrams there, probably not being a primary O-line player. Came in after the break, but as you said, first touch of the game. Maybe it wasn't super warmed up. Came out of his hands, not the way he wanted, and Le Fotta capitalized. Great D-line offense here. Huge grab from David Barzazzi. You saw both of the new D-line stars there, Horschmeyer and Barzazzi, going for it. Look, first attempt, nah, but I got backup in Barzazzi. Amazing play here from CUSB. They're back in this game. 8-8, we got a game, Lorcan.
They look like some of Poseidon's very best creatures jumping out of the waves. And this just is a lovely pop. Relaxed, smooth, and simple by Rossi. Tonetti, marked by Ford, gets it down there. Rossi, move the mark, hit the man. Fantastic stuff, and CUSB have evened it up. And all of you naysayers, all of you doubters who thought, oh no, is Are Clapham about to Clapham? No, not yet. Clapham haven't Claphamed so far.
We do know Clapham has had many teams play with them close, but usually it's even in the beginning and then a bit of a walk away. Here, Fotta having a nice train of breaks since the second half. Clapham have not scored.
8-8, a pair of snowmen.
We've got 1,000 viewers here watching this match on the English stream. We've also got a German stream and I believe a French stream going on at this game. So not sure how many concurrent viewers we have here on Ulti TV bringing you this coverage. If you appreciate this coverage, share that link out. Get more viewers here. This is an amazing game. 8-8 European final. And if you love it a lot, consider becoming a patron of Ulti.tv. Go to patreon.com. Find us, give us a couple euros a month so we can keep bringing you this coverage and keep on improving it. Timeout here called by Clapham as they try and regroup themselves. Oh, go ahead.
And even if you can't give the money, that's totally understandable. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Just keep commenting, keep engaging. Help us spread the word. Help us manipulate those mysterious algorithms and that SEO all across the internet so we can spread Ultimate across the world and help get this kind of action into far more living rooms, far more pubs and bars, and far more hearts and minds. Because what is more fulfilling than seeing two titans opposed in philosophy, united in dignity and reputation, throwing haymakers and just taking them. 8-8. What happens now? Briggs collects a disc. Mead in the middle. The captain looking to right his ship first of all, and lead them to victory. Long being marked by Sweeney. That's just it within Briggs's range, although he's not afraid to lay out. Miglioretto on Briggs is an interesting decision. Very quick. Hopefully going to try to deny him getting the disc more than being able to influence him once he has it. Sweeney marking Long out, but they have Ford coming back. And that's Yo. And Ford, and Maestro and Ford have been battling for a long time.
Fotta again trying with this force middle, mainly making sure they primarily force backhand, but when they get to the sideline, they just change that around a little bit. I guess they don't like Clapham to be able to get those upline cuts in a power position. They're trying to avoid that. Briggs so dangerous in that position.
Force them back towards the stack so that when they do get that power position, there's a lot of people in the way. It's a much harder throw to get off.
So there's been a switch now. Mastroianni on Ford.
Ford sets that out. There's an opportunity for a block, but Ali Gordon uses his body, uses his brains, gets there first. And they are really starting to bid. I think that's a call.
I like this matchup of Venturoli on Gordon, trying to limit the big man.
Is Cartwright. And this is intense pressure. Going back to Cartwright, keeping them down, keeping them in this part of the field.
Not sure what the discussion is here. I'm a bit of a loss for words, but it's going to come back in with Cartwright.
Cartwright, sorry. Briggs cutting under. Just about gets it. That was not an easy catch. And again, another call. As you can see, Clapham want to just dump it and go deep immediately. Trying to get that separation while their mark is still realizing that they have to run again. Miglioretto marking Briggs, and Briggs winds up and unleashes one. Gordon is in. So much space, so much time, and 9-8 gets the lead back.
A little bit of a release valve there from Gordon. Immense pressure caused by that Fotta defensive side, not giving any unders, giving a lot of pressure on the resets. Eventually takes the big man to go deep, release all that pressure, cause the score for Clapham. So they hold on to their lead, and now Fotta's O-line is going to have to come back out for the first time in 3 points.
First time. I thought it was the first time this half. It's not. They started on offense this half, but they looked from strength to strength. Do you think maybe after that defensive run they might have cooled off a little bit, or do you think that Fotta keeps firing?
Well, we were going to have to see. I do believe that they've, like you said, the beginning stage of the game, they were playing a bit iffy, given execution errors. Since there, they've tightened up, played well. Hopefully they can keep their heads in this game. Again, I said it before. Their D-line's going to get the breaks. It's going to happen.
The D-line's going to get the turns, I believe.
They've gotten them.
They've gotten the breaks as well.
The breaks.
You're right.
I think the D-line can get the breaks. The D-line here, they have great offense. I believe in this D-line to get enough breaks to win the game. They've already gotten 1, 2, 3 breaks in the game. That's enough to win a game in this level. It's a matter of the O-line, keep their composure, keep their execution on. Yeah, if Clapham come through and get a layout D on you're not expecting, all right, that's fine. But you got to keep your execution, keep that adrenaline in check.
Don't allow your caution to turn to hesitancy. He's in the middle of the pitch, Zani, who has just risen to the occasion and goes from strength to strength each year. Captain Italian side to gold, now looking to be a part of a gold campaign for CUSB. Gasparini gets it back to Zani in the middle. Zani searching, perusing, shopping for options. Tonelli provides him with one that he likes.
Is there an out call? Or no, I think it's just going to come back in.
Tonelli taps it. Has Zani go down the line. Can't get that break off. Since it's Gasparini, huge bid, but coming up empty. Tonelli gets it back. And a bit more quick movement. What they're looking for is Zani. No options immediately available. And Rag is doing whatever he can to make him uncomfortable. Gets it back to Kopi. Kopi quickly, throw, go to Zani. Goes down the line. He doesn't want it. Laffy there available. Laffy collects it, milking it. Just a little bit. Puts the hammer up. It's every bit as perfect as it needed to be. Comfortably collected for the score by Kini.
Gigliano Kini there with the score. 9-9. We're still nothing between these two teams right now. Again, that's great offense. That's what I said we needed. We got to keep that going the rest of the game against this Clapham pressure. They rose to the occasion. I think Fotta's looking a lot more like a championship team since the first few points of the game.
So initially, because we've seen it so many times, I imagine a lot of people at home are going, no, I thought they stopped this happening. Did the coronavirus bring it back?
The best offense of the world.
As we have Davide Mori coming in. Of course, he has to become involved at some point, and we're always happy to have him. One of the best ultimate minds, one of the biggest ultimate mouths, Davide Mori. And he's right. You could see the passion he has. He stepped back. He's now coaching this team, still trying to keep that going. But the new elements of CUSB, and one of the great things you see about these long-standing club teams is that the new people come in and they bring that, they build on what was before and can even transform it so it changes with the times more effectively. Toro Laffy with a fantastic hammer, really well taken in by Kini.
Davide Mori actually played with the Red Bulls against Clapham earlier this tournament. Got 6 breaks on them with the zone. Managed to take that game, was 15-12. The best game Red Bulls had all weekend. The biggest test Clapham had all weekend was against the junior team of this Fotta side.
Which just goes to show you how deep this rivalry runs. Because Red Bulls didn't play that effectively, that passionately, that hard in any of their other games. Not that they let themselves down. They had quite an impressive tournament.
They went down 8-0 in the first half against KFK. They might have let themselves down in some games.
Fair point. Let's not dwell on it. Briggs sends it down the line to Wilson. Or sorry, to Amala. Gets it back to Briggs. That's in the hands of Cartwright. It's Clapham. Still on serve. Still in charge of this game. Mead wants to make sure they don't relinquish control, even if they did let go of their lead. Ford. Briggs. And there's a pick downfield as Briggs just launches one. Yo's going to try and get that, but that's going to go back.
That should be a turnover. It did not, I don't think that influenced that play. But maybe some Clapham players are saying they stopped running because of the pick and they would have maybe provided an easier option. I don't know how long ago the call was made. Horschmeyer is calling for the disc back, so we're going to have a chance. It's even one throw back before that. So it's been a long time since play stopped.
Kind of similar to what we saw in the third place game where Randall were playing gentle earlier on, where there was a call after a throw and the other 12 players kept playing. There was a call between them, they resolved it and then kept playing more. As Briggs looking to set this up, you can see all those great games on YouTube for free, as well as the women's final coming up after this. There's so much action left to come and so much happening right now as Briggs patiently working, waiting. He has Cartwright in front of him, but Cartwright just can't separate himself enough from Venturoli. And Barzazzi on Ollie Gordon. The maestro against Yo. Cartwright looking, is forced to send it all the way back to Yo, sitting in a handler position. Not where you'd normally find him, but certainly skilled enough player to be comfortable there. So he gets that back into the waiting hands of Amala.
Incredible defensive pressure here by CUSB. They're really pushing Clapham back. Throw after throw after throw.
Great break by Yo to set up Briggs, who then just floats that one out with style and fantastic grab. That's what Ford does.
Justin Ford hasn't made any too many big athletic plays yet this game, but showing that he still has it in the tank. Getting big over pressure from Tognetti, which is no easy task. 10-9, Clapham still holding on to their lead.
So as CUSB were starting to fight back into this game and Clapham maybe looking a little bit lost, what do you need when things start to get a little bit lost? You need leadership. Lovely little break from Yo to set that up. And then look how that release from Briggs. Smooth as butter. And this collection toasting the defense.
That's just complete trust in Justin Ford. That Briggs, a high throw from Briggs to Ford is a throw we've seen time and time again over the last decade. Look at that throw.
Total trust. He sees Ford going deep. And he just thinks, done.
It's 10-9. Lafont is definitely in this game, but have yet to take the lead back from Clapham.
The O-line looking very comfortable. Looking like they're flowing. Both sides, really, as we've had 3 flawless offensive holds in a row.
But we know Clapham, and we know they're going to throw something else out there. We're going to throw everything they can to try and fluster this CUSB offensive line. Can they hold it? Can they hold on to this solid offense?
We'll see. Hesitation is a cruel mistress, and she creeps into the corners of your mind while you're not looking. CUSB will need to stay focused, will need to stay fiery. As Laffy sits under this disc and waits for it, gets it to Zani immediately. That combination, so resolute, so robust. Zani, under a lot of pressure as the poach in the open lane forces him to settle for the flat pass to Nelly. Calling foul, maybe a bit too much contact.
Oscar Modiano on the mark on Tonelli, sporting a fetching mustache.
Mustache game strong, defensive game strong too. Laffy gets it from Coppi. And Laffy gets it back into the middle to Zani. The timing just a little bit off as Tonelli gets cut off. And eventually they get it around on the far sideline into the hands of Trombetti. Trombetti with a searing flick, bare millimeters off the ground, and now La Fotta are flowing. Angela, Coppi. Coppi hits Angela again. And this O-line, they trust every single player in the back to be in the backfield and make the right decision with the right throws. Tonelli couldn't get it to Zani or Laffy, but then is able to get it to Trombetti because they just keep running. They keep providing options.
Big foul on the mark there by Alistair McNeil. I don't think there'll be any complaint on the call.
So Trombetti gets it into the middle. Laffy spreading the love, spreading it around and leaving it out there. Is that McHale screaming in and getting the layout block?
Clapham with a chance to get there. It's their first break opportunity in quite a long time, I believe, since the score was 6-4.
So the first break opportunity this D-line has had in a while. And they understandably call a timeout.
10-9 score. Clapham here is still in the driver's seat of this game and now have an opportunity to extend their lead. CUSB Fotta dealing with that layout D from Connor McHale.
Connor McHale, like Crouching Connor, hidden layout D. And you could see he was eyeing that up, almost baiting it. Just waiting for that arcing pass around. He picked his angle. So we see it's a little bit of the moving back and forth. This was the foul on Tonelli near the start of the point.
He just kind of sidestepped into his arm there while the fake happened.
There's another angle on it. So here we can see Laffy tries to air it out, spreading it around, and McHale screams in for the block.
See if we can get a better view on it in this angle. Look how high he gets there on Coppi.
Taking the inside lane. I would not be surprised if that was a trap. And he recognized what Coppi was going to do. Like you said, Clapham, always studying, always learning, improving, like some kind of evil AI.
And the one weakness I think that is on this CUSB side that I've seen is their O-line defense. Time after time in that Mooncatchers game, when they turned it, Moon were just bigger than them. The problem is that's a small line. So playing defense against D-line players is very, very tough ask to do from these the CUSB Fotta O-line. So we'll see what Clapham will do on this transition.
It is a big, aggressive, physical D-line that Clapham like to trot out.
That's why it's so important for CUSB Fotta to keep the disc again there. That was a layout D. I'm not so upset with that. That's not an execution error. That's going to happen against Clapham from time to time.
It's going to happen if you're playing Clapham.
It's going to happen playing Clapham. So I'm not upset with that one. But their O-line's going to have to want it back.
Well, we will see if they can find that passion in them again. As you can see from Clapham. Once their D-line gets it, their D-line is yet, I believe, to turn it over. Oh, no, they have once.
70 minutes into this game, 20 minutes later until the cap.
Mondiano. Looking. Searching. Tries to get it up. Eventually gets it to Rag. Rag sends down the line. There's a call as Rowledge has the disc on the far sideline. It's going to have to go back.
Travel call, a few throws back. Travel on Mondiano on that throw that he did up. Trombetti saying he's kind of jumping around a little bit on his pivot foot. The stall's probably going to come back in on 6. It was a high stall when that throw went up. And
that one arced up. Laffy tries to come over and help on the defensive end. Really great switch in response, so that they're going to call a foul, which has to be uncontested, really.
Certainly a foul call. Some other violation, I believe, down the field is also called.
As we see here, Mondiano had to hang it up.
Oh, it's
Look at this switch, really smart.
I think another travel call here on Mondiano. I'll have to keep an eye on his pivot foot. All right, maybe it was just a violation call. I think some players started moving before.
See the way Angela is already turning and looking on who to pick up as he recognizes Laffy came in on that. High IQ defense.
So back to Mondiano for the
did
third
they want
time.
the disc back? Oh, there's the hand block. Copy, disc in hand, picks it up, doesn't want to waste any time. And look at that aggression on the mark. So you asked, would they be able to want it enough? They clearly did. Zani floats it out, opposite side. Trombetti, Zani. Zani looks, has Tonelli. Tonelli's been screaming for the disc as they've left him unmarked for most of this fresh possession.
Bit of discussion. I think there was a pick maybe on the play discussing whether Connor was close enough. He's just recovering a little bit of buffer. Disc will stay with Tonelli.
Gets it to Laffy. And that, unfortunately, going to ground too early.
Angela not able to collect that one. And now Clapham get another chance for a break.
Clapham want to get back to it as quick as they can. Mondiano puts it into the middle. Rowledge. Pops it down. And this better play, Rowledge falling, but getting it into the breadbasket to secure it. His shoulders can heal. Possession doesn't naturally come back. Conor McHale centers it. Rowledge, who may or may not be recovering from a knee injury, depending on who you ask. Gets it to Rag on the far side. Rowledge again moves up the line. And that is great work by Rag to see the far side of the pitch and send an arcing pass to Andy Lewis. Andy Lewis has Rag again. A little bit risky with that one, but trusting his man to go get it. And another one right into the middle and Rowledge. You can see the fatigue start to break in on these both sides. McHale pops it to Rowledge. Gets it there, plenty of float. And then there's the quick pop into the score. And the waiting hands of Phil Garner.
First break for Clapham since 6-4. O-line there, just a little bit of a drop from Angela. It was a low pass, but hit him in the hands. A little bit of pressure from his defender, but now Clapham extend their lead, 11-9. A little bit of a buffer.
I've spoken before about how crucial 11-9 is. Oh, it's actually going to go back. There seems to be a call.
There is a call. Going to go back to 10-9, as that goal will not count.
All right, I'm just going to put that little spiel back in my pocket.
How many spiels you got in there?
Oh, Lord, it's a deep pocket. That's nature's pocket.
I'm not sure what the call is or what the discussion is.
I believe we can see Santucci, the Spirit captain, coming on to explain between Kopi and Garner. Mead as well, one of the captains. I believe Josh Briggs is the Spirit captain for Clapham. So either Mead or Clapham. And these pre-game Spirit circles, so fantastic. Everybody gets to know who you need to talk to, why they're coming and getting involved, who should and shouldn't be a part of it. And I think that's, as we see again in that shot, that's an aspect of rugby that I think is really, really good to bring into other sports. Because in rugby, only the captains are allowed to talk to the referee. And it's just a fantastic way to stop people from becoming too aggressive. So when you have that situation of no one's allowed to get involved in a call apart from the Spirit captain, and the person it happened to. And it just makes things stay contracted, stay tight. And if you want to throw your hands up in the air or be frustrated by it, you can, but you do it away from where it's happening so you don't influence it with your frustration.
Disc going to come back in. The score will be retracted. Rowledge to tap it in for Clapham. Very short field to work with as Clapham try to punch this break in.
Tension etched on every centimetre of this pitch. Rowledge tries to get to Modiano. Nothing happening. Conor McHale goes up the line, then goes back. It's getting late. He's forced to throw something up. Modiano gets it on the second, asking 11-9.
Because Fotta has to be happy with themselves. That was a lot of pressure on that defense. Very high stall count. Just a bailout throw to Modiano. But even if they're happy with their defense, they got to be disappointed with their offense. Now 11-9. You got to be really careful. Got to keep that execution strong, because Fotta's O-line is going to have to get back out there again and do the work so that their D-line can win the game for them.
So we saw them get rocked early, and now we see them get rocked late. They responded when it happened early. They responded with aplomb. As we see again, that was such a good hand block. Unfortunate to let that rare resurrection of possession, I suppose, go to waste. And I see what you mean. I was a little blocked from that view. It was a low throw, but realistically,
that should be a catch for Angelo.
He makes harder catches look much easier.
So we do see CUSB rotating their line out. Gasparini, an O-line player out there now, but Podge, Sweeney, Torben Horschenmeyer, Crisafoli, Rossi, and Tonelli. So 2 O-line players and 5 D-line players here. That was a long point. Going to give their O-line a rest, a little bit of time to think about what they did for the next time they go out there and try and get the job done with a new fresh set of legs. They got to win on their depth. This is a long game. This is a long battle. And they have a lot of soldiers to do it.
A lot of diff skills with those soldiers as well. Even the D-line players coming across, they are the ones who generally handle for that D-line set. Crisafulli to Sweeney. And down comes just the initial slightly poachy Clapham look before they tighten up. And a big huck going all the way down the pitch. It's red, it's missed, it's dropped, it's caught! It's just pandemonium going on right now. You can barely talk, you can barely keep track of what's going on. Somebody get the disc to somebody. And it's a score. Hornschmeyer, I believe, is the one who wound up with it. Venturoli was who collected it after all that bobbling. Was it Rossi who let it slip through his fingers?
Fantastic sequence of events there for Fotta. Sometimes that'll happen. Podge Sweeney just lashes it deep. A little bit of pack. It looked like a very lasered throw, but it ended up allowing a little bit of a pack of players to get underneath it. I cannot believe that. Cannot believe it, Lorcan.
So something we talk about a lot is catching your Ds. The other side of that is chase your O's. So here, all in all, that's a pretty perfect hook.
It's Gasparini there who gets it slipped through his fingers.
It's Gasparini. And then rescuing the blushes. Venturoli chasing the O and staying active. Huge effort.
I thought Gasparini had it. He read it very well.
Mm-hmm. He looked there for the taking. You can even see Butt trying to influence it as well, and then getting a little pat on one.
And Torben Horschmeyer cleaning it up for the score, the German import, doing work. So swapped into their D-line on offense, but that's great. That's great confidence-boosting stuff that you have the depth on your team to do that in case you get in a little bit of trouble. 11-10, still within 1. The D-line's going to have to win this game. O-line's going to have to hold, but it's going to be defense that's going to win this game since they've been put in a little bit of a hole.
Well, defense wins games, and I don't think Fotta would want it any other way. Winning it without a fight, I mean, it's still winning it, but it's not quite the same. Chicks dig scars. So let's see if they can go earn a few more out on this AstroTurf pitch. On the Sunday afternoon, in the actual relenting rain, which was something of a brief reprieve and certainly a welcome one, as welcome as this top quality ultimate, as welcome as all of our viewers across our 3 language streams, ulti.tv, putting it out for free for love of the game for you and yours. So share it whenever you can.
Got up to 1,300 viewers now in the English stream, 2 other languages, probably adding up to quite a few. We appreciate all of you.
Yes, we do. And they spread it out wide. Ollie Gordon on the far sideline. Gordon, no cuts downfield, only movement from Briggs in the handler set. Now Gordon takes off. Briggs forced to holster it. Mee gets it. Might be a bit of a foul call, calling for the push-off on Gabriel Calarota.
Just want to talk about downfield. Barzazzi looks hungry against Gordon. He is not scared of this big frame. He wants that disc to go up and show the world what he can do against one of the biggest big men in Europe.
Takes a young upstart to knock off an OG, and Barzazzi is trying to make it a cold world.
So after a few passes, Clapham back in their defending end zone. Great pressure from La Fotta.
Mead. There's so much pressure. Calarota dancing on the mark. And there's the play down the field, just about kept in by Cartwright. Looking for options. He's got Briggs coming back around. There is the pick. Things are congested, shall we say?
Yeah, it's just caused by the immense pressure of La Fotta's defense there, clamping down there, hungry. They want this game, and they want this defensive point.
They want to retain their championship. Clapham said this was a hiccup, and CUSB said, no, it was a changing of the guard.
Who will be proven right by the end of this game? Only time will tell.
Cartwright, again, another call. You see a couple of the players just chatting, bouncing back up and down on the balls of their feet to keep warm. So Maestro and Long having a conversation, as Long is doing everything he can to get free on the dump. Gets it to Gordon. Barzazzi marking him. Briggs, and for a moment it looked like the hook was on. Decides to holster it the first time, and on the second time uncorks it. That's Trombetti battling forward. It's floating, it's up, and Trombetti gets up, gets high, although there might be a bit of a call.
Ooh, bravo Pingu. Luca Miglioretto there against Justin Ford, but conversation. Obviously the CUSB sideline here does not like it.
As people swarm the tent to see the replay. I can hear Maury talking about it somewhere. I can't see him. I can feel his hand movements. It's going to be conversation.
Discussion still on the field.
The European Debating Championships.
Here we're going to see the replay. Look, disc goes up. Miglioretto gets position, reading the disc, straight up. That's a clean D. That's a clean D. Justin Ford has no
You said that
argument.
right in earshot of Maury. That's going to maybe be a contentious issue.
I'm sorry.
They have to come to us for the VAR check. We cannot go to the field and tell them. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw someone coming down to us now.
But I'm allowed to give my perspective here as a commentator, and I'm sorry. That's an absolutely clean defense. Justin Ford was trying to argue he had control of the disc, and no way. Pingu hit that clean D. We'll see what happens here in the resolution.
I'm willing to bet it's going to go back. That also counts as trying to get them to come over here. The rules are the rules, and we must obey them. It's not like they're laws or anything. You get in trouble. It's bad to break these rules. They did both get up rather massively.
Yeah, that's a matchup we've seen quite a while. Luca Miglioretto on Justin Ford. Looks like it's going to be contested. They spent their time discussing.
But it shows how tight Bologna are playing Clapham right now. The whole possession, it looked like Bologna were going to get a turn, and it's called as a turnover. Spirit wins, and that's why we have the discussions. I thought Tonetti was calling it a foul or an injury on himself after getting that unbelievable D, but it isn't him coming off. So we're looking for who they're bringing on.
Gasparini coming in. I'm not sure who went out.
So Gasparini stepping on to help them knock in this offense and make up for the break they just gave up. CUSB still 2 breaks down.
Seeing if they can get one of those back here.
Spreading it out wide. Miglioretto, who's done such a tireless job marking Mead.
Now with a lot of separation on him.
Maybe the locomotive engine that powers Mead starting to run out of coal. I doubt it, though, to be honest with you. Miglioretto winds up and launches it. It's floaty, it's hanging. Conor McHale is closer than anybody else. You'd have to fancy him, and he takes it. And then immediately Tonetti slows down into him.
Timeout is called by McHale after that. Just want to clean up their nerves as Clapham try and regroup after that D, getting it back. 11-10 the score. Clapham trying to bring their lead back to 2.
Conor McHale constantly on the lookout for an opportunity to write his name in the history books with great plays, smart defensive awareness, that fantastic layout that he got earlier on, and this time Miglioretto that shot was on if it was just match defense. But Conor McHale recognized what was happening, turned, started moving for it, and was in a better position the entire way. We have another look.
I'm going to shout out Conor McHale and Connor Hogan's stream Send It, twitch.tv/ I think it's Hoagie or something. Connor Hogan, I'm sure will post that in the chat for you. They analyze games, mostly about the UK. I'm sure they'll be talking about this one in an episode, maybe tomorrow night.
Fantastic grab. And again, catching his D, which you need to do. I like the little look of incredulity as Tonetti chest bumps him. Probably not as a congratulations for making that great D.
I'm going to take another moment here on this timeout to tell everybody watching here, our thousands of viewers at this point, go to patreon.com, find ulti.tv, and consider supporting and becoming a Patreon if you like this stream. We're trying to bring it to everybody for free, but it's going to take support from the community to keep making this happen. Also want to shout out Tokai Cleats for helping to support our stream, funding our commentary tools that we're using here to bring you this amazing game. Here we see the CUSB sideline getting ready to cheer on their team.
They're going to try and sound like the entire choir of Bologna in one voice, lifting their representatives to potential glory. In the first of 2 finals they're contesting, a real institution in Italy.
Again, they have CUSB Red Shot in the mix. They have CUSB Red Bulls, the second team from Bologna in open. They might even have Costa Rica supporters here from Rimini. Whereas the UK, only one other team. Oh, it's a turn!
An immediate turn. Unbelievable stuff. It might have to go back. It's a foul.
Foul was called.
For a second, I thought that was going to be another turnout.
Uncontested foul. Conor McHale showing the uncontested sign to the Bologna sideline, who was probably not very happy with the call.
I mean, that's a little bit of sass, and I'm here for it. Sometimes you got to sass it, as Conor McHale is well aware. And they're bobbling by Briggs. And he is in that back corner, which for a lot of people is considered coffin corner, and it's more like Opportunity Island for Briggs with the amount of throws he has. Ford, middle of his end zone. He's got Gordon. Barzazzi, I would have thought Barzazzi would have tried to fight a little closer to that. Gordon gets it to Yo rolling, and then rocking up, looking for a pass, trying to get it down the line. Huge defensive pressure. Incredibly important by Rossi to stop that break.
The Fotta are very hungry. This is the kind of fire I'd like to see on their defense. They are pushing this Clapham O-line. Clapham's a deep team, but they haven't been rotating that much on their O-line. Making this point very long could pay dividends, fatigue these players. Even if they don't get the break here, this is a good defensive point for CUSB. Maybe it'll help them. There's not that much time left, but if they can get these players tired, they'll force more errors at the later stages of this game when adrenaline is flowing and players just running on fumes.
And we'll see how each one responds. The lactic acid building like an incomplete game of Tetris.
Foul called, I believe, on Rossi's movement. So the stall will be reset here on this play.
It's pretty fair. He did stop the break, but it seemed like he got an awful lot of arm doing it. As Yo again fakes to the break side. He's got Mikhail open in the middle. Mikhail collects and then tries to throw it to Briggs, but there's nobody home. Maybe he shouldn't have sent that one.
Time was called over. Larkin will finish this point and add one.
As Fotta looking to make it universe. They're right on the end zone line. It's going to be one of the best chances they have. Gasparini, who's brought on. Will it be worth it? The first one maxing away from the second.
Oh, Rossi there did not realize Mastriani was in perfect position to take that down. Tried to get big, but didn't need to, and now Clapham will get a chance to bring their lead to 2.
As you can see, that was intended for Mastriani. The maestro is sitting, waiting, and there, in the camera shot, I think Podge representing just about every CUSB fan in that moment.
It's not over yet. Let's see this fantastic defense from Fotta. Can they stop Clapham? Another turnover.
No, Briggs somehow rescues that. It hit him on the head and he turned around and caught it. I don't know if that's skill or luck, but whatever it is, you need it if you want to win a European Championship. Mead right on the sideline. Calarota just battling him every second of the way. What a drop flick break into Ford. Clapham building strength now. They're starting to get separation. Things are starting to get a little bit easier for them, but that's not saying much as Cartwright gets it to Ford. And no cuts coming downfield. It's all unders as Mead.
Something has gone on the field because it feels like half the players aren't playing.
You can see Barzazzi and Ollie Gordon looking like statues of each other, hands on knees, deep breaths.
So again, we'll finish this point, add 1 to that score. That'll be the point cap.
As Ford moves Tognetti and then gets it to Mead, losing yards, but not afraid to. Mead looking for options. He has Briggs. Briggs floats it out to Yo. They're not gaining huge amounts of yards, but they are moving the disc, making CUSB work. Brilliant fake by Conor McHale, but Briggs wasn't able to get the break off. Ollie Gordon reset in the middle of the pitch. Big bids coming up. Cartwright is equal to it as Tognelli tries to get it off him. Briggs down the line to McHale. McHale looking, searching, finding Ollie Gordon in acres of space. And they are taking their time, but it is methodical, persistent. Some might even say relentless by Clapham. Ford spreads it out wide, and Yo collects it. That is exactly what they needed and exactly what's going to break a lot of Italian hearts. 12-10, game to 13.
So Larkin, talked before about the offense needing to stay constant for the rest of this game. They just have to do it one more time. This is the last O-line possession that Fotta will get for the rest of the season. They need to make this clean so they can have all their firepower and all their energy go back out there on D and try and get 2 more breaks. But it's going to start with the hold. Can they do it? Or can this hungry Clapham D-line, who has not gotten nearly as many breaks as they did in the first half, get out there and just finish the game in 1? It's going to be a tough point, tough moment. Last O point of the season for Fotta.
It will be a fairly Clapham move to come out and get a break here. And with all of this tension built up over the last hour and a half, just evaporate. That's the Clapham way. Crush spirits, bring down hammers, see you later. But we thought this game was in danger of being over at the end of the first half. CUSB came out 1, 2, 3. Point run. Can they finish the second half the same way they started and retain their championship? Laffy picks it up, back of the end zone. This is a huge point. Copy centers it, or it gets it to Tonelli, and back to Copy in the middle. Laffy. They're just moving it around their end zone right now. Tonelli. This is big pressure from Clapham, making them work for every single pass. Zani, Tonelli. Still in that end zone. There's about 6-7 passes into the possession, and they're still in their own end zone. Laffy working. That's a break. It's just gone wrong. It's to the front corner of the end zone. Rag pops it. Rag gets it back. Looking to write his own name in history. Destiny comes a-calling, and the Clapham have answered. Conor McHale gets the winning score, 13-10. And Clapham retake what they have always said is rightfully theirs, the European crown.
Their 10th European crown as an organization. As the same year that they got their 20th straight UK title, Clapham showing the dominant force they were. It was an incredible game by both sides. Clapham just had the edge. If the CUSB had come out as strong as they did in the first half of the first half, this could have been a much closer game, but as it was, great match between two of the dominant powers in Europe.
I don't want to be too unkind to CUSB. One slight miscommunication separated this 13-10 victory for Clapham from a universe point situation.
That's true.
And those are the finest margins that define championship and second place at the highest level of European Ultimate. But you already know that, otherwise why would you be watching? Thank you for joining us. We have so much action still to come with just one more game at xEUCF 2021. So keep it here. We will be back in just mere seconds. I have had the distinct pleasure to be joined by Ravi Vasudevan. I'm Lorcan Murray, and we'll see you next season.
Alti.tv